The title of this story is The Extraordinary Gardener, and the author, Sam Borton, is the person who wrote the story. Can you predict what might happen in the story from the front cover? Predict means try to guess. Have a think, what might happen? Now think about the setting. Where do you think the story will be set? Is it at the beach? Is it at the park or the playground? Say it out loud. Let's try and read this together. B-l-b. Blurb. What is a blurb? Where would you find it? Yes, that's right. You find it at the back of the book. It tells us what the book will be about. Let's have a look at the blurb of our story. Joe lives in a very grey world. Nothing special ever happens to him, but he does have a wild and wondrous imagination. Then one day, Joe has the seed of an idea that will take his whole world from ordinary to extraordinary. Joe was a boy with a wild imagination. Let's think about the word imagination. It means when you think about something that is not actually there at the time, when you pretend, just like this little boy in the picture, he's pretending he's a superhero and flying in the sky. Let's get back to the story. Joe was a boy with a wild imagination. It took him far away to a world less ordinary, to a place very different from the world outside. That's what Joe sees when he looks out the window. That's what his world looks outside. Can you go and safely look outside your window? What do you see? Pause the video and go and have a look and come back. Now that you've looked outside your window, I want you to use your imagination to think about a different world. Not an ordinary world, but a magnificent world. What would be in your world? The magnificent world that you are imagining. In Joe's world, plants grew taller than skyscrapers, and animals, unlike any other, roamed the streets and soared through the sky. Every day, Joe longed for his world to come to life. Then one night, while he was reading his favourite book, an idea began to grow. It was full of beauty, colour, scent, and song. Scent. A scent is like a smell. It's a pleasant smell like flowers or perfume. It was full of beauty, colour, scent, and song. And it all started with something very small. The next morning, Joe went in search of one little thing that would bring his idea to life. He looked in all the usual places and the not so usual places. Finally, he found what he was looking for. Shout it out. What was he looking for? What has he got in his hand? Yes, you're right. It is a seed. Let's read the word together. S-E-D. Seed. He found what he was looking for, a seed. Wasting no time, Joe collected all his tools together and carefully planted the tiny seed. Then he fed it and watered it and quietly waited. And waited and waited some more, but nothing happened. Nothing changed. Why do you think nothing changed? What could you do to help the seed grow? Pause the video now and think about it, and then tell someone in your house. Say it out loud now. What could you do to help the seed grow? Perhaps the seed didn't grow because it needed something to help it. We know that Joe planted it in soil and he watered it. So yes, you're right. It needs sunlight as well. Eventually, Joe stopped waiting. He forgot all about his seed and he went back to what he knew best, imagining. But something was happening. The seed had begun to grow. It grew and grew and grew. Then one ordinary day, while Joe was busy daydreaming, something colourful caught his eye. He stepped outside and discovered that where he had planted the tiny seed now stood the most beautiful tree. Joe got to work at once. He learned to preen and prune, dig and sow. Every day he brought home new seeds. He started to grow all sorts of things. Before long, the single tree had become a tiny garden and grew bigger and bigger. How do you think Joe is feeling now? Did you think about it? Say it out loud now. One by one, Joe's neighbours came to visit his beautiful garden. When Joe saw his new friend so happy, he had another idea. What do you think his idea might be? Think about it. Now say it out loud. Yes, you're right. He started to share his plants with his neighbours and his friends. Joe decided to share his garden with people throughout the city. And slowly, over time, with the help of that first tiny seed, Joe's world grew from ordinary to extraordinary. What differences can you see? Use the sentence starter I can see to tell someone in your house the differences you can see. My sentence would be I can see lots of bright, colourful plants. Pause the video now and then say it out loud. Moral. The moral of the story is what you have learnt from the story, and it can teach you how to be a better person or how to behave in the world. What did you learn from the story? I believe the moral of the story is it is important to be patient and also good to share with other people. Our challenge for today, after listening to our story, is can you use your imagination to draw a picture of an extraordinary world that you would like to come to life? So draw a picture of an extraordinary world that you would like to come to life and use your imagination. It can be amazing. It can have, just like in Joe's picture, wild and wondrous creatures and trees as tall as skyscrapers. When you have drawn your picture, think of some adjectives to label your picture and write them down. Think of some adjectives to label your picture and write them down. And don't forget to use your sounds to write your words. Good luck with your challenge.